The rabbit amidst the flood. We aren't enough, cried the rabbit to the others. They looked equally perplexed and hurt. But why? One stammered. I don't know. God wants to do us all over again. That's what she said. I was there when she spoke to the human. But how would she expect to do that? A giant flood. The statement washed over them. No one knew what to say. The rabbit sat there, but he could tell they couldn't handle his presence anymore, so he left. He stared out into the great vast night, thinking about what would happen. Was God really going to drown them all? Did he do something wrong to deserve this fate? Was he or those he loved really so bad to deserve this? God had said this newest species, the humans, had done something wrong, and she now regretted making them and all the other animals. But why, then, should she single out all the other animals as well? God couldn't have been giving the whole story to this human. Maybe she was focusing on the part that related to humanity. There must have been something bad they did to get lumped into the humans like this. But that was what he was going to find out. Over the next several days, the rabbit spread the message of doom among the other animals. Our rabbit tried to work with other creatures to form an action plan, but at first the other animals freaked out. They could try to think of as many ways as they could to pacify a deity and to convince her that their lives were worth continuing. They built altars to self-conflagrate, hoping this would appease God. Some even offered to be sacrifices on the hope that their death might save all the other creatures. Others turned to asceticism, convinced that all the creatures must be too involved in the pleasures of the world. That must be why God is doing this. If they denied these to themselves, they thought they could save themselves or maybe even all the other creatures of the world. Some predators even renounced eating their fellow animals entirely until they withered nearly to the point of starvation. God remained silent, never seeming to budge or care about how the animals harmed themselves on her behalf. But he could not get them to sit down and listen, so he decided he needed to move on. He went to the ocean. Maybe the creatures of the sea had ideas on what to do. He sat at the edge of the water, striking up a conversation with a few sharks. As a rabbit asked for advice, they just laughed. There's nothing you can do, one shouted back. Whatever you did wrong, you must accept your fate. Soon enough, we will feast on the bounty of your corpses. He couldn't get anything useful from them. The lucky freaks were immune, which they had to see as a type of ordained privilege, as if they deserved to survive, unlike these damned landed creatures. The fish did not see their land as kin, but simply as an upcoming harvest. These fish had given him an idea. They felt fine because they did not think that they would be hurt by the danger. With proper hope for survival, his fellow landed creatures would be able to keep going. As a community, if they worked together, might they be able to influence the mind of God? When he returned to his neighborhood, these things had changed drastically. Anger had swept the terrestrial creatures. How could this God smite them for the evil the humans had done? They had each found their own way to curse God and die. Some retreated to their own worlds, where they could be by themselves. Even creatures that usually lived in flocks turned on each other and left their own wilderness. Others sought to destroy the world around them. It was all going to wash away anyways. Who cares? They attacked other animals without thought or concern, seeming to revel in destruction. A few channeled their anger at the humans building the ark, attacking him, his family, and the ark itself. He and his family were always able to hunt down the creatures that went after them, though, like God was protecting them. Evidently, the other humans did not believe him about what God had said and criticized him for building the ark, but these animals strategically attacking him seemed to convince them that some unforeseen divine initiative was afoot. He thought human beings were sending him waves of animals to try to prevent him from fulfilling God's command. This caused the humans to leave him alone and let him face his fate with the divine alone. For them, the gods must be having an argument, and they would wait to decide which side had won. The rabbit developed the idea to try to build their own ark. He organized a group of creatures with different sizes and skills, and they started by watching the human to see how to build one. But they were never able to replicate his tools. They had no thumbs to hammer, or even from the hammers to nail the nails in the first place. What they constructed never got off the ground, which he could only compare with the provincial success of the man's even more massive boat. He slowly realized all hope was lost. He was going to die. This god had decided to kill him, and there was nothing they could do about it. And for what? For the evil some human beyond their control? They really hated these humans. He sunk into his burrow and refused comfort. As his daughter, I tried to get food to him to keep him going, but there seemed to be little point. He had already accepted that he was going to die, and nothing would change his mind. In the process of finding food, the ark-building human found me. I had been chosen as one of 2 rabbits to survive to maintain rabbit kind on his boat. I desperately wanted to sustain my father, but I guess I had another calling. God herself seemed to pick me, because no matter how much I tried to escape to see my father in his last moments, I could not. As the waters engulfed the earth and we remained in our protective kiln of ark, I looked at the darkening world. As the waters rose, I could see my father salvaging the last bits of his makeshift boat, trying to keep his raft together on top of the coming storm, only for one extra large wave to sink him into the depths. This is the story I tell to my children. Tell the story of your great rabbit father. Remember the loss that God wrought unto us animals because of the humans, and trust no one. The humanity and their God least of all. Once we hopped in pride, but we must be vigilant. The world is dark and horrifying, and all we can do is try our best to survive.